What I can tell you is I'm not engaging in any hypotheticals. You can see that I'm all in for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's going to be the nominee of the Democratic Party. I'm going to go out there and wholeheartedly campaign for him. I've endorsed him and Kamala Harris. He's going to be at the convention in August, accepting the nomination, and I'll be cheering for him in the audience.
It's Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday answering questions about President Biden's fitness and his support for the incumbent, as Democrats continue to question whether or not Biden has the mental capacity to continue forward, not just in this term, but the next 4 years. It's an interesting election cycle, no question, as the Republican National Convention is next week. Former President Donald Trump expected to get that nomination. And then weeks later, you've got the Democrats meeting in Chicago for their convention. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Thanks for being with us each and every weekday morning. We will be on the ground at the Republican National Convention next week. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and stay up to date with all of our reporting from there. But we also be at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago in August. So again, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay up to date. So Governor J.B. Pritzker was with about 20 other governors virtually and in person in Washington, D.C. to meet with President Joe Biden last week. This was after the poor debate performance the week before, and Biden's having to answer questions about his mental fitness and what was displayed on the debate stage, being stuttering, incomplete sentences, didn't seem it all together. The Biden administration says that he had a cold, he had jet lag, despite almost 2 weeks since he had traveled the world, and a variety of other factors involved, but not anything to deal with Parkinson's or any other mental degradation, despite him having 2 brain aneurysms in the past, and I believe a couple of brain surgeries as well. But regardless, Democrats seem to be in a bit of a tough spot right now. Earlier on in the day, you had Illinois U.S. Representative Mike Quigley make these comments as he was walking out of a Democrat caucus meeting.
The fighting spirit and pride and courage that served the country so well 4 years ago helped Joe Biden win. We'll bring the ticket down this time. He just has to step down because he can't win, and my colleagues need to recognize that. A dismissive letter is not going to change any minds.
So again, that's Quigley yesterday talking about a dismissive letter is not going to change any minds, and that letter coming from President Biden earlier this week to Democrats elected officials. Governor Pritzker yesterday asked about Quigley's response to if he should stay in the race.
Look, I think it's not unreasonable for people to have differing opinions about all this, but I know Mike Quigley. I know he does not want Donald Trump to become president of the United States. So you've seen a lot of comments by congresspeople, by others who have questions. In the end, everybody understands that we're pulling together to put our party and our party's nominee and our issues over the line. And
so Pritzker was peppered with questions yesterday. He was at an unrelated news event talking about clean energy jobs, held a brief gaggle with reporters afterwards, and this was the first time that Pritzker had been in front of Chicago media since he was at the White House meeting with President Joe Biden last week. So what about that meeting? How did that go?
Yeah, first of all, he was fully engaged. We had, around 20 governors, half of them in the room, half of them on Zoom. We had a very good discussion between us. And again, the president did a great job of answering questions throughout that meeting. Some people came away with different impressions maybe, but for the most part, and you saw that the head of the Democratic Governors Association and 2 other governors, went and did a press conference together representing all 20 of us, because again, some weren't able to be at the White House, and some of us had to go catch a plane. The truth is that it was I think a robust discussion, and I just wanted to be accurate about how I reported what happened in that meeting.
So the governor, again, being asked tons of questions about that meeting, including what he had to tell President Biden.
I said you got to get out there and talk to the American public more. It was important. I think they took too long. I think he admitted this after the debate, for him to really go out and do press that would get national attention. I know they did some rallies along the way, but it's important for him to answer questions and talk about the issues. Hyper important. People are thinking about their own families, how they're going to deal with the kitchen table issues they've got in front of them, and their personal freedoms. And there's no candidate better on those issues than Joe Biden and, by the way, the Vice President, Kamala Harris.
Thanks, everybody.
So the governor standing by Biden, despite, the questions in the past of him wanting to aim for the White House, something he denies. He was even asked yesterday, Gretchen Whitmer, she, a governor, has said that she is not going to make a bid for the White House, even if President Biden steps down from the candidacy. Pritzker reacting to that.
What I can tell you is I'm not engaging in any hypotheticals. You can see that I'm all in for Joe Biden. Joe Biden's going to be the nominee of the Democratic Party. I'm going to go out there and wholeheartedly campaign for him. I've endorsed him and Kamala Harris. He's going to be at the convention in August, accepting the nomination, and I'll be cheering for him in the audience.
We'll talk a little bit about that August convention, but the governor also asked, what if he steps down?
No, I can't imagine that. Joe Biden said he's going to be the nominee. He's planning to be at the convention. He's planning to be the guy who accepts the delegate vote that's going to occur, and so I can't imagine what else could happen.
Could there possibly be a brokered convention? A convention where you've got people saying, hey, we've got these electoral votes, we've got those electoral votes. Is that going to cause some chaos in the party in August in Chicago?
But again, I don't expect that to happen. We're going to have an orderly convention. Again, there's going to be a roll call that occurs before the convention, and then at the convention you're going to see that, and all the speeches, of course, endorsing President Biden.
So the governor essentially reiterating his support for Biden, regardless of all the questions from the likes of Mike Quigley and other Democrat elected officials. Even Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin has been on record saying that there are substantial questions. But what about Sean Casten? He is a Democrat from the Chicago suburbs. He was asked by CNN yesterday about this ongoing question of, Biden's fitness going up against Trump in November.
Takeaway is great sadness that we are not having a conversation about the fact that we have two people running for president. One of them has a record that anybody would be proud to have, and the other one is an adjudicated rapist, a twice impeached convicted felon, who there is not a single American who would trust to babysit their teenage daughter. That is the conversation we have to be having over the next 3 months. We need to make sure that we can run an effective campaign on the political side of this operation. But the stakes of this are not about elections. The stakes of this are about what is the future for our country in two different scenarios. And I think there's a lot of concern about, will we be able to have that conversation in this media environment? But my God, that's the conversation we have to have.
So the conversation moving forward, you've got a lot that could happen in the weeks ahead. Because it's not just the Republican National Convention, which is next week, and we'll preview that with former Illinois State Senator Darren Bailey, a Trump delegate. Then after that, you've got the Democratic National Convention. So we've still got a whole bunch of time between now and when official nominations are made. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Join us each and every weekday morning with Illinois in Focus Daily, the Center Square, and America's Talking Network.